Hey, Shalita, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Okay. So for the listener's sake, this is episode 2 from you, with you. And we started with your story, which is extraordinary and unusual in our business. And so I want everybody to go back to the first episode with you and listen to it. But now we're going to continue that conversation.
Okay. In 2019, I decided I have to do this for other women because I'm having the time of my life. Like, I'm having the time of my life with my hair. And I know it's possible, and it was easy. So that's how
you had
we got
discovered
started.
the secret, and you're doing it on your own. You're blending your own. I imagine you were experimenting with various things.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and you're acting at the same time, or were you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're acting at the same time, and on these whatever gigs you're doing during this time. Were you having to do all that difficult maintenance of it?
No.
Because why?
After my 4 Naturals treatment in the middle, like the spring of 2019, I had one show that didn't go that I shot in 2019. But I can say after my 4 Naturals treatment, I never relied on wigs again because my hair was what I was buying. So I have that naturally. And if I played a character that I felt like would wear her hair straight, I could just straighten my hair. So I shot you in 2020. And
we love you.
Yeah,
my wife and I, yeah.
Did you see the 3rd season?
Not yet. Because
well,
it gets a little disturbing, right? Obviously.
Yes.
And my wife she's trying to like gain the fortitude emotionally to begin season 3. And we'll get there.
Yeah, it's a lot. Season 3 is a lot, but I'm the queen of season 3. And for me,
we're definitely gonna watch now.
Yeah, you have to now. It was horrible, just terrible. But for me, I knew that I would not have been able to get that job using a wig. Because the nature of the character and, her surroundings and, who she was, you can't be rocking a wig being a bitch. You know what I mean? Because all someone has to say is like, well, okay, wig. That's the end of that, right? So
you're vulnerable.
So they had to tell... Yeah, you're vulnerable. That's a vulnerability, right?
Sure.
And so for me, I was like, oh, I know this character. Like, this is who people think I am anyway. So I'm just going to straighten my hair and like just be a raging bitch. And I got the job. And it was a great experience because I had the experience of 6 months of having them flat iron my hair every day. And I started the show with 13 inches of hair, and 6 months later, I ended with 16.
Wow.
So for me, that was a healing experience in that it was just a different one, right? It was a better one, a different one. No drama, no tears, no backstabbing, no shame, no people feeling like they have to lie on people to like cover their asses because, there was none of that. No game playing. Amazing. It was just show up as an actress, get my hair done in the trailer, go do my blah, blah, go home.
Focus on the important things of the job. So many different things. I can't even imagine how important, how impactful that was.
It was totally impactful. And again, I'm an actress. So for me, in my career, my hair is part of me getting the job because it's part of the look. Yeah. And so everyone's so lazy nowadays. No one's going to look at you and be like, I can fix her, because what if you can't? And and these sets, it's a dialysis machine, okay? Like every 30 minutes, we're hemorrhaging hundreds of thousands of dollars because there's so many personnel and everybody's being paid. So time is really money. And so you have to show up like this would be my first day. And for a lot of us, we're limited in how we can show up because you're doing your hair at home. You can't afford 4 times a week to go get a new wig and whatever, unless you're like being bankrolled or something. Right. So like for most of us, you gotta figure it out yourself. And if whatever you figure out doesn't look attractive to, it makes getting the job harder.
Right. Okay. So you've developed the secret, if you will. And what did you do then?
So 2019, when I decided, okay, I got to make this a business, I wanted to test it first. I wanted to I didn't want to just go all in, right? Because I told you, my parents were kids. And the thing I didn't tell you was that both of them had a history of get rich quick schemes. Uh-oh. So I knew bad business. And based on the only successful person I knew, my grandmother, I thought you had to do one thing. You can't switch. You have to just do one thing. You can't do several things at once. So that was a big leap for me. And so I encountered a business called Salon Republic. And
never heard of it.
Isn't that cool? Isn't this cool for you?
Yes.
You get to meet people that you've helped. You've helped my business so much.
Well, this is the best part of the story.
There.
This is
for you.
That's part of the story. No. For the listener's sake, you and I spoke before we did this, before we started recording here, and I was unaware of this. So This is really cool, and this is not self-promotional on my part. Okay, I gotta put that out there.
Are you sure? No, just kidding.
100% sure. So just gotta throw that out there. Okay, so you found Salon Republic.
I found the Salon Republic, and that your business allowed someone like me who was not really in the salon business to really take a stab at being an entrepreneur in this business, right? And so having a space where I could wash hair and people felt comfortable going, that meant a lot for the success of, how hard it is to get people to do things off the internet? It's very challenging. Sure. So if you don't set yourself up on the back end, it's not going to be a success. And I did. I had several people that did the 7 treatments, and I got to chart their progress with the treatment over time and also collect their stories, right? Because for me, I have my certain set of circumstances with my life and how my hair has interrupted a lot of my plans for my life. But, it was important for me to get their stories as well, and for them to experience this treatment in my hair literally changes my life. Mm-hmm. Things that I used to do, the way that I used to feel about my hair, or even just time and money that you spend on buying units and other products and even checking bags and things for your hair products, right? Yeah. It's completely different. So we did the testing period, and then I turned that lab into a hair spa. And then I moved into a larger space in the Salon Republic to, carry out this hair spa dream. And then the pandemic came, and I had to pivot.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
Yeah.
There were a few pivots.
Yeah. A lot of pivoting. So I decided, all right, let me just accelerate. And I had already been working with a cosmetic chemist when I solidified the henna. When I do these things, I get this consistent result. So I think this is what it is. And so I went through that formulation process. I went through the patenting process. So, now we're getting our responses back. And usually it takes 2 years, but because I filed during the pandemic, everything has taken so much longer. But I started that process in 2019 2019 into 2020. And then since we pivoted, we focused on direct to consumer. So you can purchase the treatment online. But for me, I just wanted an experience that was different for this target market. So, what do I do every day now is I'm putting up content to teach them about their post-treatment hair so that they don't have to go to YouTube. If you purchase this treatment for me, as someone who is a consumer with this hair type, what we don't get is accountability, right? We can go in and have face-to-face hair experiences and have your hair fall out and go back and the practitioner saying, no, that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And you know that the only thing you did different was visit this business, right? And so for me, I wanted to heal that experience as well. So I have all this content, but then I wanted to heal the experience for salons. So my vision, my goal is for people with textured hair, type 4 to type 3 to type 2, that they will feel comfortable walking into any salon and know that they're going to get a detangle service that is going to be pain-free, it's going to be thorough, and it's going to be quick. And they can get a treatment over treatment, their hair gets better. They can come back to this practitioner and do services that their hair couldn't handle before, but because they have this treatment in their hair, it can handle it. And it's a treatment that for the salons, you know, nobody likes the feeling of people crying in their business, right? And so, right? Yeah. Like, come on, no one goes home like smiling, right? Like, come on. So for me, the B2B relationship is all about giving these businesses all of the information that they need to make doing and interacting with this textured hair easier and valuable for their customer. Because if you're on YouTube and you're like looking up high porosity, low porosity, you're looking up all these things, and then you go into a hair profession and you go, can you tell me my hair type? And they're like, humana, then that doesn't build value and trust, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you're having these very typical problems like heat damage, like lack of curl definition, dry hair that completely changed after it encountered a product. If you can't go to these practitioners and get help, no wonder salon businesses are not doing that well, because you're not really offering value. You're not offering the things that these clients need to be successful with their hair. And if you're working on compromised hair, the result that you get is not what you wanted, and it's not what the customer wants, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to solve these pain points for everyone so that we have a better hair experience, all of us.
Okay, so and what you're offering now is, you said direct to consumer. You have a website, fornaturalshair.com, and a consumer can go there and buy the treatment there. Mm-hmm. You're also selling to salon businesses. Is it a different product that you're selling to the salon businesses?
No, it's not a different product, but it's a different financial setup, right? So you're going to buy in bulk because you can sell this retail.
Salon owner.
You can do retail, and you can use these for service. And so anybody that we're encountering in these first year or two, there are early adopters. But where I see the product for salon businesses is that you will have two different henna mud masks to choose from. You'll have your service mud masks that will come in a foil, and you'll have your retail mud masks that come in the jar, the glass jar. But for now, we just have the two in the iteration that we have now.
And
the
for
jar
consumer, how often do you recommend they do? Well, first of all, how long does the treatment take?
So, if you go, one of our salon partner is Hozho, Hozho. She processed that before and after in 1 hour. So she sat with the client sat with the henna mud mask on her hair for 1 hour. Mm-hmm. And from that post, I think she posted that the day after her treatment, and she just had her second treatment last night. Mm-hmm. For these weeks, what that client, and she's like a teenager, and she's biracial, her mom is white, like that morning that they did the treatment was a really bad morning. It was a bad hair morning. Like her daughter could not get her hair to cooperate, right? And so it was bad that morning. And so since the treatment, her daughter has shiny curls. She got in the pool, her hair came out, it was just curly and shiny. Like, it just makes the manageability better. And so she came back 2.5 weeks later, got her second treatment for an hour. Now, the henna mud mask has been dermatologically tested. So when you're using it at home, you can sit with the treatment on up to 10 hours. And so for, your salon clients, it's like, that's the value of having them purchase the retail jar, because they get 3 treatments for the price of 1, and they're able to leave it on for much, much longer. So you can leave it on for 1 hour, leave it on for 10 hours. How often should you treat? It's a hair health treatment. So when I did the treatment lab, we did a treatment every 9 to 11 days. That was the cadence. And the cadence was that way because it's a week and a half, right? Mm-hmm. And so how much difference will I see treatment over treatment? And the hair is completely different every treatment. So you can use it once a week, you could use it once a month, you can use it once every 6 months, but you want to use it when you want to infuse your hair with health, definition, shine. Does
it change the color?
So
any effect on color?
Yes. So your natural hair color, this first iteration of the henna mud mask is in sun-kissed brown. So being very transparent, it's henna, and we have a touch of indigo to take that orange losone into more of a brown. So when you're looking at me now, my hair is very rich in color, but when I go out into the sun or light, you can see like this like reddish brown tint, right? So that's what that does. For people who have blonde color on their hair, all the henna mud mask will do is deepen the tone. Okay. And for those who want to put color on top of the henna and are freaking out right now, well, let me tell you, the reason you're freaking out is because cosmetology boards and the schools say henna is bad. And henna is bad because it contains metallic and chemical salts. And those metallic and chemical salts have a chemical reaction with your color, and the hair will smoke, burn up, and the client will be dropped into the pits of hell.
Yes.
Well, that is very dramatic, but also not very clear information. Not all henna powders contain these chemical and metallic salts. In fact, the powders that do are marketed as 30-minute hennas for people who are trying to dye their hair with henna. So it's very easy to tell that those hennas have additives, right? But you can just purchase henna lawsonia powder, and that plant has zero reaction with our color. So we have a colorist who is a product ambassador, Amore Monet, online, and she's this like red hair goddess with like punk rock shaved sides, and just a year before, she could never get her hair that long, especially when she was dyeing it. So that henna, it coats the strand, which is why the cosmetology boards, they're like, oh no, it's terrible, because you do have to use something to lift henna out of the hair. So when people ask me, is it permanent? Yeah, it's permanent, because henna permanently remains in the hair. So every treatment that you do, it physically builds on the last treatment. Not in that build up gunky kind of way, but in that my strands are heavier, my hair looks thicker, it just feels more substantial kind of way. And again, that's why the people of India have such a stellar hair reputation. Those strands are so thick, and a lot of them are using henna.
Very interesting. Okay, so you have been a career actress with much success.
Yeah.
Are you currently acting, or have you gone totally businesswoman?
No. So for me, I think one of the common misconceptions is that when you're an actor, you're acting all the time. In fact, your full-time job is looking for a job. So that's the full-time job is auditioning.
Right.
And so when I'm in Mexico, I'm not on a set. But if I'm in America, then yeah, I'm shooting. So, and our shoots, they can be, if you're shooting a pilot, like I just did a couple months ago, it could take you 2 weeks. So, I go to America for a couple weeks, and I'm pretty well known on my side of things as being like the consummate professional, in that I bring a lap desk, which my computer's on right now. Bring my lap desk. I bring my note cards for work, because when I'm not blah blahing in front of the camera, we're literally sitting around for an hour and a half. That's time. So like I use my time well. So when I'm not on a set, I'm working. I'm total full business mode. But when I'm on a set, I have to do the blah blah, the cute thing, da da da. But when I'm not in front of a camera, I'm like working.
I've been an extra on a few things in college, and it was horrible. It was
terrible.
I sat around for hours. It's the worst.
It's a lot of wasted time.
Yes.
And when you're being paid well, it's like, all right, fine.
Of course,
like,
that's part of the deal.
Yeah, that's part of the deal. But if you're not, it's truly
a waste of time.
But what they do for extras, and I hate this, is that they feed you that kernel. You could make it. You could make it in front. You could.
Nobody was feeding me any kernels.
Nobody fed you kernels, Eric?
No one gave me any hope that would be my career. No. I think they just kind of left me on the bench.
I think they did you a favor, my man, because,
100%.
Salon Republic's way better than an acting career,
And I don't want to confuse anyone. I never actually wanted to be an actor. Typically, it was in college, and my buddy's dad was a producer, and he's like, come with me to do this thing. And I was like, oh, I'm from Texas. So I was like, yeah, sure, I want to do this LA thing. And I think I did maybe 2 or 3, and that was it. Unfortunately, there was a period of time when MTV, I'm 47, so MTV, that was kind of in the heyday when I was in college. MTV Beach House, MTV this, MTV that. And they got their hooks in me for a summer or so. And I did some Beach House things, and I did one of those, they had a couple of game shows that were just abysmal. And I did a couple and spent like 15 or 16 hours on set. And half the time I'm looking around thinking, what the hell am I doing here? Like I could be surfing or something.
Yes, doing it, and that's what we call it, the golden handcuffs.
Yeah, the golden.
Because boy, you can't do anything with your life when you're on a show.
All consuming.
It's literally all consuming.
Okay, so you are you've transitioned, although not entirely, into businesswoman. I mean, what is that like? You've never done business before, and all of a sudden you are an entrepreneur. Are you like a hustle culture, entrepreneur, businesswoman, or what's your philosophy?
So my philosophy comes from my start. So the reason I'm anti-hustle culture is because I come from hustlers. Ooh. So I know the other side.
That. I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah. So for me, growing up, I watched these adults who were kids, but adults make really dumbass decisions out of like that hope, that desperate hope that if I give these hours, if I make that run to New York, if I do this thing, then my whole life is going to change. And it never was the case. And so for my mom, when I was growing up, she's like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. She was a mime. She was a rapper. She was a poet. She wrote a novel. She's a manager of models, manager of musicians, would find all of these things. And she considered herself a hustler. I got my hands in all these different places, and I'm having all these conversations and getting people to get on board with me.
I feel productive. Like people feel productive when they're doing all those things.
Right, but you're actually getting nowhere, right? And so one of the stories that I tell about my entrepreneur journey is I went to the Bronner Brothers convention last year, and I went to the beauty brunch, and at this point, This is 2022, and I just got my first, units of my 2 SKUs, and I got to move that weight, I got to move it. And so I'm coming there, I'm doing reconnaissance, like, what is a trade show like? Like, what are the things that I need to know? So there is a Q&A portion, and this girl raises her hand. Now, I struggle with imposter syndrome, right? Because
we all do.
To
some degree.
Mm-hmm. But for me, how I choose to interact with that voice, that like, who do you think you are? Like, you can't be an entrepreneur. You're just an actress. Like the way that I like deal with that is I'm like, you know what? You're right. I can't be a successful entrepreneur. I am just an actress. But I do think that I only feel that way because I don't know how to be a successful entrepreneur. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to learn. So I would buy books, buy these like entrepreneur books, right? Like not these like guys on the internet, but like books like Think and Grow Rich, like authors that have been around for time, right? Sure. Who people are like, these are the books that can change your life. It's about values and fundamentals, right? And not like, hey, post 3 times a day at this hour and you're going to get 5,000 followers. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that shit, right? So for me, I'm like, all right, I got my imposter syndrome is like getting after me because it's like, you didn't ask a question. How serious are you? So I'm like, shut up, bitch. So the girl gets up and she's like, she's got a lot of energy, Eric. She's got a lot of energy. And she takes over the room with that energy. She goes, hi, I have a booth. This is the number of the booth. So I'm like, she's self-promoting. And I have this gizmo that is an oven for your wig and it will melt your wig onto your head. And I raise $500,000. The room lit up, Eric. She raised 500. She raised. Oh, I love a woman at the table that I was at. She was a sourpuss. She heard 500,000. She was like, I like her. She great. So she's like, I raised $500,000 and I have a prototype. So now, red flag, right? $500,000 raised was a red flag too. But I was like calling that. Bow, how you only got a prototype? You raised $500,000.
Yeah.
So then she's like, how I need to get units. I need to get units to sell. How do I get more money? And the women on the panel, totally ill-equipped for this question, probably ill-equipped for the feelings that they had listening to this question. And they were just like, you got to give stuff away for free. That was like the best advice. But for me, what I took away was this. When I first started in my living room in Toluca Lake in 2019, I watched this sleepy little YouTube video that was like how to be a successful entrepreneur. Oh boy. And they said you need 2 things. You need a product that works and you need a way to get it to many people in a very like succinct way. So I picked up the E-Myth and learned about systems. And so then I watched another video during that period and I was asking myself like, do I want to invest my money? Because for me, financially, I'll be very transparent. I've bootstrapped this business since 2019. Great. I haven't asked anyone for anything. Yeah. And so that the decision that I made to do that, the reason I decided to do that was because I learned that raising money is your business first signal of failure. Because you can't get your business from point A to point B because you don't have the capital or the revenue to do it. So you need someone to come in, invest capital so that you can get from A to B. And so for me, I was like, people have done more with less. So I'm just going to take this a problem at a time. And what I've learned and what I've gained from just my, like at that point in that Bronner Brothers convention, like 2 years or so, give or take, of business, was I had units to sell. I paid for that product. I had a team. I had marketing and I had, we were figuring out the problems of how to get in touch with our target audience, right? So I actually had a functional business. What she had was an idea that she got people to get behind with their money. Yeah. And so for me, coming from that hustle culture, I know And listen, it's 2023, baby. We literally have an entire like section of documentary series dedicated to scammers, American scammers, or people coming from other countries to come to America to scam, right? Because there are things within our culture that lend itself to people scamming and getting scammed. So
the freedom to scam.
Freedom to scam, baby. Come on over here. Get you that BMW and do 7 years. You know, like that's the thing. So for me, the takeaway was like, wow, I bet if I went to her Instagram, she's posed in front of a new car. I bet if I go to her Twitter, she's telling us how she bought a house, right?
Yeah, or telling people how to be successful at their business, right?
Exactly. For $19.99, I'll tell you how to get rich. But I need your $19.99 for me to be rich.
That's right.
So like, you know? Yeah. So that's why I don't lean into that hustle culture, because what I've learned is that people respond to value. Yeah. Like I could talk to hundreds of people about the 4 Naturals treatment. And if my goal with my business was just full stop to make money, then people feel that. And it's new and it's different. It takes time. You got to learn stuff. So I have a lot of barriers to entry, right? So if people feel that my end game, my goal is their money, they're not going to do any of that stuff. And I don't have a sustainable business. But when I can sell people on the value of investing in their natural hair and talk to them about the problems that they're having and frame those experiences in a way that they understand that this is a problem that you've had for generations, but it can be solved, right? Yeah. And if I can sell people on the life change that they will be having, right? And not in that like get rich quick way, like you use this treatment, you're gonna date like 5 dudes. You know what I mean? Like whatever the quantity, you know, like how we get. But if I can show you that in those times of deep like frustration and shame and pain around your hair, that there is a solution for you. And as a company, we're going to support you even through that treatment. We're going to give you all the materials you need. Then I think for my customers, they see, wow, this is a business that I do want to patronize. I do want to try it. And for me, and this is the first time that like I'm really talking about this, but the truth is from getting product in February of 2022 till now, I have not had a single person write in and say the treatment didn't work for them.
Wow. Well, that's extraordinary.
In fact, there is a term about like people purchasing multiple times, like a lifetime purchase value or something like that. Yeah,
customer retention, customer return orders, the percentage of customers who purchase again.
Exactly. For my customers that are repeat customers, they average about 2 to 3 purchases a year. And I just sent a video to one of my customers just saying thank you because she made her 3rd purchase just shy of her 1-year anniversary with me. Yeah. So awesome. That kind of showing up again and again and again to use the product, that's value for my customer. Oh, yeah. And I don't feel like I hustled them out of anything. No, you contributed to them solving a problem. Or you solved a problem for them. Yeah. There's nothing more, I can't say it more simply than that, which is what business is for. It's to solve a problem for somebody. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my focus because, again, how I started, I know I can't hustle. I can't do it because my heart's not in it, because I lived, it's hard. It's hard to live on a hustle. Right? Yep. But if I focused on why am I doing this, like focusing on my why and my why that other people would want this, then whenever I get knocked down, I make a bad investment, I invest in some marketing that has 0 return or whatever, I get that momentum again. When I go back to, my virtuals send me, feedback from people being like, oh my God, like, this was great. You sure? And that's like, that's fucking going, man. Totally. Keep going. It's so awesome. Yeah. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Eric. Seriously.
It's really great.
Thank you.
Do you have any, I mean, I hate to even ask this question, but at the end of every episode, I ask if somebody has a hair horror story. Why don't we make this one like an entrepreneurship horror story? Do you have any, and of course, the point, by the way, is for it to be like constructive, like you talk about something horrible that happened, and it's a lesson. Did anything, like, I was about to ask a stupid question. Did anything go wrong? Of course things went wrong. So like,
yeah.
So what would, like, give us a what went wrong?
Oh, okay. All right. So this definitely, I don't know if there is an upside to this, but you know, this girl's full of silver linings, so we'll figure it out. Just know that it's coming off straight off the top. Mm-hmm. So, problem. Let's talk about getting my my formula. So I started that process in 2019. And for me, I wanted to work with a cosmetic chemist that would understand the importance of this product for my target demographic. So I found this company, I will not name, and I got into their system. They were like, oh, you know, it was basically because I was on a television show that they even like entertained, like going down the road with me.
Okay.
And so, you know, I send them all this information. I do everything that they told me to do for the formulation. And, you know, I get a formula for the conditioner. The conditioner formula is, it's just taking 2 of these plant ingredients and this like basic deep conditioner formula. And so now that's mine. Mm-hmm. So going through that whole process, they told me it could take 9 months. It took over 1.5 years.
Oh,
and
what?
So, yeah. So 2021, right? Yeah. In June of 2021, I got my first shipment of 2,500 units of the conditioner. And no henna though, because that's what the patent is on, right? So I'm like, where is the henna? So when I closed the Salon Republic space in 2020, my hope was that I was going to have product to sell in 2021.
Yeah.
And, you know, just start building off that momentum.
Yeah.
And so I got the runaround. And this vendor would send me her like customer service person, and we would have these weekly meetings that didn't amount to anything, but it was really just like I had given her at this point $40,000.
Wow.
And I had 2,500 units of conditioner and no date for when we were going to make this henna. So
okay, so hold on. So they screwed up the formula by omitting the henna.
No, they didn't make it at all. They didn't make it at all.
Okay.
They just made the conditioner,
okay,
and I had paid for the henna and I paid for the conditioner, but all I got was the conditioner.
Got it. So you were still waiting for the
henna.
Okay.
The henna to start my business,
Where's
right?
the henna? It's been 1.5 years.
Where is it? It's been
$40,000.
1.5 years. So then now we're in 2021, we're in the fall, right? And she's like, oh, you know, we're having all these issues with our lab. Like every week, these meetings are about getting this 1,000 units of henna made, right? Like every week it's about this.
This was during COVID?
This was during 2021, during COVID. So I get to October and she tells me now, we're not going to make it this October. We're going to make it in the spring of next year.
Oh, jeez.
Because we're moving. Because
yeah, because people aren't coming to work. Because we have lots of excuses. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're into December of 2021, and I'm starting to do my yearly accounting, right? So I'm like just picking up all the invoices that I haven't added to my Google sheet, and I get to these invoices, and I get so angry, Eric. I get so mad because I'm like, I've given this company $40,000.
Yeah.
And I have gotten nothing but the runaround.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting scammer vibes, right? I'm getting like back home vibes, right? Because this woman she's doing trade shows, she's doing speeches, she's doing conventions.
She's out there busy.
So she's out there just talking about herself. And I'm I'm having these conversations with the customer service person, and she's like, well, I couldn't get to her because she had this schedule, this conference, whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, Eric?
She's biz deving out there trying to get new clients, and here you are, a client who's paid, not getting shit.
Not getting anything.
Yeah.
So you know what I did, Eric?
What?
I had to dig back to the past, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
I had to dig back to the past.
All right.
So I was like, all right, I have this problem. I need to sell. Like, I am literally hemorrhaging money every month, just like paying my vendors, trying things on social media, like in the hopes that I'm going to have this product to sell.
Yeah, and by the way, losing traction with the people who
that I did the treatment with.
Mm-hmm,
exactly.
The customers.
So I go, all right, got this problem. She's in my way. And you know what? I get people out of my way. So I call and I go, listen up. I need her to call me. Her and I get on the phone. And so this happened in December. We need to get on this phone. And I need to hear from her why I don't have product. Because I actually gave you $40K. All your invoices have due dates. I paid before they were due. None of your promises come with real dates that you respect.
Right.
So I need to talk to her. We get on the phone. Because I'm not going to take it up with the customer service lady.
Right.
I'm going to take it up with her. So I let her have it. And letting her have it for me was really just explaining the problem that she put me in, right? The situation. And I let her know, like, I come from scammers, thieves, and liars. So I know when I'm being taken. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, I've let you take me for over a year. So, and I had paid for like 9,000 units of other of packaging, like more glass jars, 7,000 units of bottles. So I'm like, where are my materials? I need my materials. I need them delivered to this address. Because if you didn't buy that with my money, then that's fraud, right?
Right.
And then I need to, and just the formula itself, like when we got samples back in the fall of 2021, they didn't work. And it was just like, I had a conniption fit, like, oh my God, they don't work. And then I figured out she didn't even use henna. She used cassia. So like, it's neutral henna. That's not real henna. And I had given her like all this information. So I'm like, you weren't paying attention. What were you doing with these formulas? I sent you the formula twice with the raw ingredients. I'm getting like this subpar situation. So you know what? Until I get my product, so I'm giving you an opportunity to give me a date for when I will have this henna delivered to my fulfillment center. But if I don't get it by this date, I want you to know that you're in my way and I don't have product to sell. You're the only thing that's in my way. So I'm going to tell every conference you've been to, every trade show, my experience as a customer with you. I'm going to go on Google. I know who gives a fuck about that. But I know you care about these conferences. And I know you care about your reputation. And you know what, Eric? I got my stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how I got my first shipment of product. Yeah. It had to come with the threat, but I think for entrepreneurs listening, I think, when you are on top of your finances, the benefit of that is that you can see where you have negligence in your business and what vendors are jerking your chain.
Business isn't easy. It doesn't not everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And your story, unfortunately, is not uncommon. Not uncommon. So sorry you had to deal with that. But, it's almost like very often in these kind of entrepreneurial business starting stories, and of course I have some, there's this adversity that almost sharpens our teeth and allows us to be better, as we go forward. Every entrepreneur has it. So, thanks for sharing that. They're your lessons. They're great lessons. So thank you for sharing that. It's amazing. Any last words for the community?
Last words for the community. Well, I just want you to know that if you're having a hard time, it's possible to have a better time.
I love
it.
That's it. That is simple and beautiful.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
possible.
Your story is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I can't wait to tell my wife that we have to watch you now, because I've been waiting patiently for her to get up the gumption to watch you. And I'll tell her that you said that it's not a true story. So she shouldn't have
but
trouble
it is
sleeping.
though. No, it is though. It is though,
God.
Eric.
Well, don't
it
tell me
happens
that.
all over the country. I'm terrible.
Lie to me
I'm
then.
horrible.
Lie to me then.
I'll lie to you.
All right, Shalita, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.